Hey, good Monday morning, my friends. I'm Live Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here with the MLive Morning Weather Update. Happy to bring you some warmer temperatures, quite a bit warmer compared to where we've been. But I also want to caution you that winter is nowhere near over. We're just getting out of the Arctic air. And at times in the next week or two, we're going to get into some pretty mild air out of the southwest. I'll show you that pattern change in a little bit, but we'll cover the day-to-day weather over the next couple days first. Not anything real crazy. The UP has a winter weather advisory for several inches of snow. In the lower peninsula, we could have a very light mix of snow and freezing rain overnight and tomorrow. I'll show that to you. Don't get too nervous, but also don't let your guard down. Some of these freezing rain events are just little pockets, it can be very sneaky. So be careful with that. All right, here we are onto the maps. And the winter weather advisory encompasses most of the UP for several inches of snow. Here's the radar right now, and across lower Michigan, I would call it dry. Definitely southern 2/3 of lower Michigan, and across the UP, the snow is traveling across there. Let's get the big picture first to lay out the week, and it's a pretty quiet week. Our next storm system looks like it's about the 14th, 15th or so. That's back in the picture. Hey, good morning, Eric Lentinen. Thanks for joining us, and if you could hit share, I would appreciate that very much. Thank you. Okay, so European model this week. Not any real big travel problems. No travel problems today across lower Michigan. Now here's tonight and tomorrow morning. I'll show it to you a little bit closer in a minute, and that might look like, oh, there's pink. Yeah, something to be concerned with, but not really overly obsessed, because also notice tomorrow we're in a southwesterly flow. Look at that red squiggly line. That's the 32-degree line, and look where it jumps to. It jumps out into Lake Huron. So all of lower Michigan should go above freezing, it looks like, by midday tomorrow. And that'll really help if you've got some places where the ice is packed on the sides of the roads, your driveway, your sidewalk, or whatever. So this is tomorrow. I wouldn't call it really any travel problems. This is Wednesday morning. We go back to a northerly wind, so we'll cool down again. There are some cold days, not Arctic though. Now this is Thursday, pretty quiet, and here we come to Friday. Quiet also. We like this, don't we? And then the next storm system. We've been talking about this 13th, 14th, or 15th. It went away for a day or two last week and thought, okay, and that does happen. All of a sudden, something changes on the other side of the globe, really, when you're talking about something a week or 2 weeks out. It can change, but it's back. And this is Sunday morning into midday into afternoon. So that is a track that we always watch for an accumulating snow. The center is in southern central Ohio. If it were to be cold enough, that would put the accumulating snow in the southeast half of lower Michigan, much like what the European model is advertising. So that's our one storm system in the next week, next Sunday or so. And then the next one, on the heels of a much warmer upper air pattern coming in February 16th, 17th, 18th, a warm front blows through. We know that that's sometimes hard to do with the cold, icy Great Lakes. But the point is, it's not Arctic air, and at times we get fairly mild. Okay, so here's the closer term. And again, today, this is this evening. So the UP is where you only have to worry about snow today. And then this is overnight. So this is 1 in the morning. You see the freezing rain in the forecast coming across a thumb. Very patchy, very light. I'll show that to you in the mountains in just a moment. And then tomorrow morning, So I'm going to say in the northern half, you could find a little bit of slickness, but not anything that would be significant or where you'd need to give a lot of extra time. Here's that same model on total liquid precipitation. Now, we know it's not, Lisa Collins listening to me in exercise class. Oh, Kylie Edmark, first cruise this weekend. Congratulations. Have fun. Will snow on roofs get heavy with the warmth? Chip shot, valid question. The snow won't become any heavier than it is now. It'll still be the same amount. It'll just, compress down to ice, but not heavier. So no, you wouldn't worry about an increase of that. So we go through tomorrow, and you'll notice that in those areas where lake effect, or rather freezing rain, I said lake effect so often this winter, the freezing rain was possible. You're talking only 1/100th. So I wouldn't call it an issue. Snowfall across the UP tonight and tomorrow, 3 to 6 inches. Far northern lower, an inch. Otherwise, nothing. So fairly quiet. All right, now this is what we want to stare at. We want to stare at the temperature forecast. Right now I have what the National Weather Service says. We'll go back to our favorite model, the European 2, here in just a second. So today we're 25 in the east. We're near 30 in the west. Grand Rapids, you're 29. Tomorrow is when a lot of us could head well into the 30s and maybe 40 degrees. Maybe 40 degrees for Lansing and Owasso, Jackson, Ann Arbor, Detroit. Grand Rapids, Saginaw, close, 38. We'll take it. Traverse City, 34. All of us get above freezing for several hours, so should help on the sides of the roads and on the sidewalks and any of that invisible ice. Wednesday, a little bit cooler, but certainly not Arctic. We like it when behind a system it drops only to 30, 31, 29. Here's Thursday, near 30. Then we start our warming trend as we head into the weekend. A little modified warming trend into the low to mid 30s. This is Saturday in the mid 30s and Sunday in the mid 30s. Let's grab the European model, because from what it's forecasting out into the long term, I think we're going to see some bump up in these temperatures. So this is Friday, this is Saturday, this is Sunday. We get a lot of 35s in here. This is Monday. Remember, it shows a warm front blowing through, which this is a good temperature configuration right here to show what happens. Warm air moves north, and look at how it bogs down at the south end of Lake Michigan and the south end of Lake Erie. And guess what's sandwiched between that? Michigan. So we have a tough time. So, could we do something like this, burst into the 60s? It's not out of the question with the upper air that we have coming, but I think more likely you'd say 45, 50 degrees for a day or so sometime next week. And again, winter is not done, but it's starting to falter. So here's that upper air pattern change. This is what we're in right now. We're going to go out 16 days. So note that as we get toward the weekend, there's our storm system. There's not a cold air reservoir. And then as we get into early next week, a storm drops into the southwest part of the U.S. and a ridge blows up over the eastern U.S. That certainly can make 50 degrees. We still get these little pockets. I wouldn't call this really the polar vortex. It's just a lobe of cold air. Moves in, moves out. So again, winter is nowhere near done, and there's indication that in the last week of February, winter comes back and lasts into probably a couple of weeks of March. And that makes sense, that as the cold air retreats, it's gathering strength, it'll come back down for a month whenever it starts to hit. But look at the 6 to 10 day forecast. right there. 6 to 10 day, obviously, warmer than normal, wetter than normal. 8 to 14 day, warmer than normal, eastern 2/3 of the country, wetter than normal across the Great Lakes. 3 to 4 week forecast. Remember, we get that on Friday. They only issue that once a week, and they go toward normal temperatures February 23rd to March 6th, signifying that the cold air is oozing back in. Hey, Tony Carino, I understand. The body needs a little warm up. So we're getting a nice break. I think we just have to take it, enjoy it. Winter's not done. We are coming out of the bottom, we can say. I'd say we'd call last week the bottom, and we're starting to do this. If you're ready for spring, even some winter lovers I'm hearing from are saying like, okay. And this has been, pretty harsh winter weather. We don't see that all that often anymore, but it's not historic by any stretch. In fact, I was trying to look for some fun stats, like how long we've been below freezing. Is this a big, long time period? And it's not really. Some places are in the top 10 longest stretches below freezing. I thought Traverse City's been below freezing for quite a while. I looked it up. It looks like it's going to be about 27 days in a row, and that puts you just at the very bottom of the top 20 stretches of below freezing. Number one stretch was 78 into 79. It was 51 days below freezing in Traverse City. So we got our winter, definitely, and still I want to write about this. I want to look this up because I feel like I have it right in my head. But we have a lot of places that are above normal in snowfall, even outside of the snow belt, and we really haven't had a major snowstorm yet. That's still yet to come. I'm convinced of that. It's not a given, but 9 out of 10 years, your biggest snowstorm comes sometime in late February or March or so. There's your weather update. We're starting to come out of the bottom and enjoy a little bit of melting going on this week, as it's going to be more common. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Have a great day. Bye.